Hey everyone, happy Monday. This is Nishana with your Monday motivation. Matthew 19 verse 26 says, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." After surveying the land of Canaan, Jericho was the first city that the Israelites would conquer under Joshua's direction. Now the gates of Jericho were tightly shut as the people were afraid of the Israelites, recognizing that God fought their battles. No one was allowed in or out of the city, but God said to Joshua, "I have given you Jericho, its king, and all its strong warriors. You and your soldiers are to march around the city once a day for 6 days. 7 priests will walk ahead of the ark, each carrying a ram's horn. On the 7th day, you are to march around 7 times with the priests blowing the horns. When you hear the priests give one long blast on the ram's horns, have all the people shout as loud as they can. Then the walls of the city will collapse and the people can charge into the city." So Joshua called together the priests and told them to take up the ark and assign 7 priests to walk in front of it, each carrying a ram's horn. He then told the people to march around the city, letting the armed men lead the way. Following Joshua's command, the priests started marching and blowing their horns, followed by the ark. Outside of the horns, they were instructed to be completely silent until they were told to shout. So the ark of God and the people marched around the city of Jericho once for 6 days before returning to their camp each night. On the 7th day, the Israelites got up at the crack of dawn and began to march around the city of Jericho as they had done for the past 6 days. But this time, they circled the city 7 times. As they began their 7th round, the priests sounded a long blast on their horns, and Joshua commanded the people to shout with all their might as their God was about to deliver the city to them. Joshua further told the people that only Rahab and her household would be spared in thanks for her protection. "Do not take any of the things set apart for destruction, as they will bring trouble to the camp. However, everything made from silver, gold, bronze, or iron is sacred to the Lord and shall be brought to his treasury." So when the people heard the sounds of the horns, they shouted as loud as they could, and the walls of Jericho came crashing down. Rahab and her household were rescued, along with the sacred items for the Lord, and the city of Jericho was completely burnt to the ground. So what about you? Faith without works is dead. So if you truly believe that God is who he says he is and is capable of what he says, then you should act accordingly. Joshua had faith that God would make the walls of Jericho fall down, so he acted and marched around the city. Sometimes we claim to have unwavering faith, but our actions are rooted in fear and mistrust. Your walls are the gateway to your promise, and your actions are a byproduct of your living faith. Understand that like the people living in Jericho, the devil and your demons not only know God, but understand what he's capable of. Your walls are temporary and subject to God's authority. So remember that through God's might and power, the walls in your life will fall down. Allow your setback to be a setup for your comeback, because your mess is about to be a message of hope for others. God, it's not by our might or our power, but by your Spirit that we are made whole. Thank you for continuing to fight all our battles despite our lack of faith. Continue to prove that with you all things are possible. Amen. This was Nishana with your Monday motivation. See you next week. Bye.